Welcome to the Pharma Voice Editor's Take video series, filmed live at the 2013 DIA Annual Meeting in Boston, hosted by Taryn Grome, editor of Pharma Voice. In this episode, Taryn meets with Jamie Macdonald, CEO, INC Research.
Jamie, thank you so much for taking time out of your DA to participate in our Editor's Take 2013 video program.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
The topic of CRO sponsorship partnerships is continually being explored. As one of the key thought leaders on this year's Executive Roundtable on the topic, what are some of the key areas that you believe make for a successful partnership?
Yeah, it was a good round table today, so that was the first thing. Communication, I think, is absolutely key, particularly up front, and building expectations on both sides and making sure that they're reasonable and well understood. And then building trust, and that comes through delivery, and it comes through really sort of hitting expectations around quality, timelines, and clearly fiscal and budget management as well. So it was a good session. It was some pretty interesting questions coming in from the audience. Big focus on innovation and technology, and certainly that's part of the new partnerships, is really using technology, process and innovation to find more efficient, effective delivery, and really demonstrating that the partnerships work. So it was a good session.
Fantastic, and I know the CROs have really been very progressive in building that trust factor up with those sponsors, but yet there still seems to be a little bit of a barrier in trying to break through that. So what is one of the keys to making sure that the sponsors understand that you have their best interest at heart?
Yeah, that was a topic of discussion at the panel as well, and there's always been a perception that CROs are not vested in studies in the same way that sponsors are. I think we debunked that today in some of the examples we gave. I know I've had my team, even in the last week, write to me about how excited they are that sponsor results are positive and trials are moving forward to the next stage of development or commercial. But it's about showing that the team is aligned and really sharing common goals. And we go as far with some of our sponsors to provide appraisals for their team, and they provide appraisal feedback for our team, and really soliciting that input. How good's the chemistry? How good's the team fit? And are we really meeting your expectations, not just around financial performance and some of the KPIs, but really the qualitative aspects of the relationships.
Fantastic. Now, where do you think the biggest opportunities lie for CROs in the next 2 to 3 years?
I think, again, some of the conversation that we covered this morning, it really is around technology, but taking new technology and aligning it to processes, and not old processes. Anytime that you take in new technology and try to fit it to an old process, you don't optimize the use of that technology. So really, new technology, really modifying and putting improvement into existing processes to really better align them to optimize the technology. I think that's a big piece. And then advancing the therapeutics, advancing the relationships with sites. In the end of the day, you can have great technology and great process, but if you don't have motivated investigators with protocol-eligible patients, you're going to fail in your studies. So really putting sites back at the center of almost everything that we do, and at INC we've spent a lot of time really investing and ensuring that we're bringing the right sites up, they're delivering quality, and they're really engaged on completing enrollment. That's going to continue to be a focus. We want to make sure that we're getting to the right sites and really offering patients opportunities to participate in clinical research for everybody's benefit.
I want to talk to you a little bit too about that technology innovation. It seems to me that a lot of that is happening on this side of the fence with the CROs and the other technology suppliers to the pharmaceutical industry, and yet the manufacturer side seems to be lagging behind. So you're kind of dragging them along with you, and what does that take to sell that message to them?
How long have you got? It's a long process. I think we really see an improvement in the base of technology. So we look at the partners that we work with, particularly metadata for us. They've spent a lot of time joining up the various modules within their platform, making it very accessible through the cloud, and really ensuring that there's integration across all the modules, essentially building an ERP for clinical development. That's what we need. We need that end-to-end process mapping. We need to focus on master data management. We need not to be duplicating the number of times that we put the same physician in or the same institution into multiple systems. I think on any particular trial, it's anywhere between 12 and 20 times that you're entering that name into different systems and different platforms. Let's have common data, let's have common data standards, and really push those all the way through the clinical platforms, and then make them available through new visual tools, new analytics, and really using the same data at the same time that sponsors and CROs use. I think on the manufacturing side, they've adopted more of the traditional MRP, ERP technologies, and are maybe a little bit ahead, but we don't in clinical development have the equivalent of an SAP or a JD Edwards driving clinical development. We've got very modular, discrete systems that don't do a particularly good job of talking to each other. But what we see with metadata, and to some extent some of the other technology providers as well, is a real understanding that they need to produce an enterprise platform for clinical development.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your schedule to meet with us today.
Pleasure, happy to.
Thank you.
Additional Editors Take videos, as well as podcasts, white papers, webinars, and more, are available in the resources area at www.pharmavoice.com.